Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Allie, and project by project I am becoming a sewist. So I'll be making garment 7 in today's video, and I will be making my first ever dress. I will be using the Aura Pinafore dress pattern by Soften Studio, and she's so beautiful. A few important things before I get into the project. The pattern calls for a heavyweight material, and I really dreamed of making this in wool. But after I realized, like, at minimum, this pattern uses 4.7 yards of fabric, and considering my skill level and that it's my 7th garment and the cost of wool, I was like, okay, we need to pull things back here. I'm gonna use what I have on hand, and if it turns out not great, it'll be a toile. If it turns out great, I can wear it for my Christmas card photo. We'll see what happens. So this is what I had on hand. It's organic cotton. It is a bed sheet that I thrifted. So it's this white with brown stripes. Do I wish it was brown with white stripes? Yes. And stripes are gonna be interesting to make a dress out of. We'll see how that goes. But a couple of fabric cutting out notes. So this is something I've struggled with and improved upon, but I talked to my mom a couple days ago who she sews. She realized I was having issues with precision and cutting out my patterns, and she gave me the tip that seemed obvious to her, but I had never done it, never really seen anyone do it. But she would pin the paper pattern to the fabric before cutting it out, which I was like, that's so brilliant. So that's what I did. So I pinned it on, I traced it, and then I cut it, which actually turned out to be so helpful because in this pattern you can either shorten or lengthen the dress, depending on your height. If you need to adjust it, you do that at the beginning, which was super easy and straightforward, by the way. I just hope I shortened it enough because I'm kind of a short girl. But anyway, pinning it helped so much because it didn't move around at all. So if you need that tip, and it was sometimes you're cutting out double, 2 layers of fabric at the same time. And so pinning all the way through was really helpful for me to just stabilize everything and whatever, cut it out. Okay, so I cut out all my things and I'm excited just to get into it. We're here on step 1, and I have my front and back pinafore pieces. I guess I'm just gonna mark an X on this, on part of the deep V. One other note I forgot to mention is the skill level for this pattern is supposed to be intermediate, and I wouldn't put myself in that category at all. So we'll see how this goes. But I feel like it's doable. Seems kind of simple. There's a lot of serging. I don't have a serger. So I'll be using the zigzag stitch, which I just watched a video and it totally encompasses the hem, to keep it from fraying, just like a serger does, on a smaller level and not as neat, not as effective. Anyway, I'm going to be marking 2 centimeters down from here is what I can, from what I can tell, for an important back stitch. So that's where we're starting. Okay, I think I figured out where the X is going to be. Let's do a nice X there. And beautiful. So I'm putting the front pieces together, right sides facing. This fabric's already starting to fray, so I feel like I need to work quickly to get that under control. I don't know, I like white during Christmas, so I hope this works out. Okay, so maybe I should pin this. Maybe I should mark it and then pin it. Let me just mark my 1 centimeter seam allowance. Okay, let me mark this and pin it, and I'll see you at the sewing machine. So I already got a new spool of cotton thread. I got a big one this time, so it'll last me longer. Okay, so I'm supposed to do this important back stitch where that X is. I don't feel great about back stitches, but I will do my best here. Oh, I do this every time. I forget my tomato. I'm gonna pull you in a little closer anyway. Here she is. Okay, so basically I'm going to repeat this for the back pieces. Okay, I might have put my X in the wrong spot. I just did it from the top of the little notch, but I don't think it's supposed to be from there. So I'm going to remark this one and Then I'll double check my other one just to see if I need to reinforce somewhere. I feel like I might have gotten it right on the other one, but not this one. My original one, I measured it from like this top little pointy thing down, and it was supposed to be from here to here. So now I can do the important back stitch here, not here. So I'm interested to see what my other one looks like, if I need to make some changes there. So much reinforcement is happening right there. We're good to go. Okay, now it's time to press the seams open and overlock the edges. So I'll be doing my little zigzag stitch. So I'm really hoping this dress works because I don't need a new dress, but it'd be really nice to have a new dress. Okay, so I'm gonna have to overlock both sides of this. That's what you're telling me. Also, my X is gone. So hopefully I don't need that for later. All right, one down, one to go. Okay, let's press this open. Pressing things is just like magical. It makes everything look so good. Time to do some overlocking. So I'm feeling nervous about the zigzag stitch, but it's time to just go for it. Okay, I got through all of that serging. Zigzag stitch actually worked surprisingly well. Obviously a serger would be better. I don't know if there's a better zigzag stitch for me to use that would be more encompassing, but worked pretty well. I feel like there's maybe a more secure option, but we're just gonna go with this for now. Then I'll do research before I need to do this again. Rosie's taking a long nap, and okay, our next step is to continue the serging. So I'll continue my zigzag stitch for all the curved edges of the pocket. So there's 4 of these. So let's do this, and hopefully I'm better at it. Like, I've never done this before, and we're just layering a new skill, and it's actually kind of fun, and I can go kind of quickly. So let's do this part. Okay, I'm gonna finish these and see you on the other side. I finished serging, doing my zigzag stitch on all the pockets, and now I'm a touch confused because I've just read the next step, and you're supposed to attach the pocket to the dress, right? Pretty straightforward, except I'm like starting to second guess if I was supposed to serge the 2 sides of the pocket together. But then that doesn't really make sense because this next step I'm supposed to sew it on to the dress. So if it was all one piece, it would like sew it shut, right? So I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to sew these pockets on. You're supposed to do it like for all 4 sides, so it would make sense. I don't know. I've never done pockets before, so I'm just going to trust the process. Or maybe I'll read through the whole instructions just to make sure I'm not like missing anything major, then proceed. I'll let you know what I find out. After some thoughtful consideration, I talked to Luke about it, and even though I already serged the sides of these, this fabric's kind of see-through, and if I put it like the pockets in, I think you're gonna be able to see it. Like, you're gonna be able to see the lines through the dress, and it's gonna be kind of distracting. So I'm just gonna do external pockets. I'm sure I'll make a garment very soon where I'm doing the internal ones, and if it's a heavier weight dress, I can see myself using them, but I don't think I'm going to use them on this lighter weight. So we're going to skip that. And that takes us to step 9. Place the front and back dress with right sides together. Sew shoulder seams using 1 centimeter seam allowance. So then I will put those together, mark it, press, and then we move on to our front and back facing. So we're moving right along, you know? Okay, so I pinned these and I marked my 1 centimeter seam allowance. Now it's just time to sew them. Just the tops of the dress. There you have it. Hey, I don't know why, but my reverse stitches are going way better. Actually remarkable. I'm supposed to press these seams open, but I'm going to wait to do that, and I'm going to do the, just to overlock the bottom of the facings. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that part. Let's move this, and I will press it later. Let me get my facing. I'm going to go back to my zigzag stitch here. One done. One to go. I can see how a serger could be useful. I'm just not there. You know, I'm not willing to buy one yet. Okay, that's done. Let's see what we have to do next. All right, so next up is I'm literally going to do the same thing with the facings that I did with the dress pieces, where I put right sides together, mark my seam allowance of 1 centimeter, pin it, sew it, press the where I've sewn the seams open. So I'm just going to press both of them at the same time. So what I'm realizing is this is going to be underneath the dress, right? Like the facings. I'm wondering if you're going to be able to see the stripes through and it's going to look bad. But at this point, I can't really like, you know, even turn it around because it's side specific and front and back specific. So I think there's going to be a live and learn stripe situation. Turning off my zigzag stitch. Here. There. Reverse stitch. Hey, they look good. Now it's time to press. Okay, that's done. Let's do these. The burrito method's coming up. Totally did this with the shirt, so that's helpful. So this is easy enough. Press these open. Okay, then what do I do next? Okay, lay facing out flat with the right side facing up. Lay dress on top with right side facing down. So this is the back, this is the front. So I'm gonna lay the dress, so I'm gonna lay it like this and like this. Hopefully this lines up enough to work. This is where it gets scary. This is where my beginnerness starts to show. So I'm doing the neckline right now. So here, so I'm gonna line this up with pins. Oh, but then I'm sewing it with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. So I need to mark that. If I'm gonna mark it, I need to mark it now. Here. Yeah, I'm not feeling great about this lining up. Here, that was so precise with my pattern cutting, but maybe it's a little sketchy. So I'm just marking this side. Okay, let's try to line this up as much as possible. Pinning that together went way better than I thought it would. It actually worked. And so now I'm going to stitch it. I went ahead and marked my 1 centimeter seam allowance, so that should be good to go. So yeah, let's stitch it up. It looks pretty good. I did the pins backwards once again, so that's good. Sew the neckline together. I don't know if I did it right, but I sewed the neckline together, so that's exciting. They emphasize stitching in the ditch. I'm not completely positive about what that means, but I think I sewed some nice little V's in that area. Okay, now I'm going to be clipping in the front and back seams. Okay. Next up, I just had a really scary moment where like things really could have gone wrong. So I read like understitch the neckline. I was just gonna be like, okay, I'll just reinforce this by stitching underneath. Well, thankfully, this pattern is very good. So it defines terms. So I was like, I think I need to go read what understitch means, first of all. And then I kept looking at the photo and I was like, how is this the right side of the fabric laying on the wrong side of the garment? like the dress. So the facing, it's the right side of the facing, but the wrong side of the dress. So it really hurt my brain, but then I realized I needed to like turn it inside out. Now I'm pressing it. See, this is like the right side of the facing, the wrong side of the dress. So I'm pressing it so I can do understitching, which is like a specific thing. I just avoided like a big mistake. Thank goodness. So I'm going to finish pressing this. I'm going to stitch it. I'm going to press it again. And then we're getting closer to the burrito method, which might be a thing for tomorrow, but we've made a lot of progress today. I'm really happy with it. So let's press this. So it's the next day and we have a dress coming together. Let me show you what I finished last night. Well, and just now. So this is like the facing is out and I've done my understitch, and then I just watched Soften Studio, who made this pattern. I don't know her name. I should look up what her name is. Anyway, she did a video tutorial on the burrito method. But I'm really, okay, can you see? Like this is like a dress coming together. It's very exciting. So yeah, I'm lacking just a few steps and we'll be done. I was kind of second guessing if I wanted those pockets, but I think it's the right decision because it is a little bit see-through. And so onto the burrito method. But like, okay, let me show you, like these seams look pretty nice. Like it feels like it's like a dress is really starting to shape up, which let me see. I think this is the front. I labeled it. I think this is the front. Anyway, oh no, I think this is the front. Well, I definitely need a tag so I know which side is the front. Oh, here we go. So this like deep V-neck over whatever shirt it is. I know this is the facing, so this isn't the outside of the dress, but like, it's gonna be cute. Anyway, let's do the burrito method. Okay, I'm gonna do the burrito method. I feel like she had a much bigger table, which would be helpful. Okay, so I'm gonna roll this. So this needs to be rolled up in. Okay, so roll all of this. Because then I need to do this side too. I'm doing this whole side of the dress. And you're pulling this out and around. Out and around. Okay, so now that I've pinned it all, I think I just stitch this with a 1 centimeter seam allowance, and then we'll come back and pull it through, and then we'll do the other side. I have to just say, I didn't mark my 1 centimeter seam allowance, and I sewed a straight line and it looks like a 1 centimeter. So we're making progress, folks. And now it's time to pull it through. So I guess you pull the whole dress through the armhole. So this should be interesting. She said, like, use lots of patience. This is harder than I thought. Okay, it's taking, oh, there we go. I was like, this is getting ridiculous. Okay, then that is done. Looks so good. So now I just have to repeat for the other side. So it's the next day. I have both good news and bad news. The good news is this morning I got a little time before me and Rosie started our day together to sew some pockets on. I originally didn't do pockets because I was concerned that the stripes were going to show through the dress too easily. And then I was like, maybe it won't be that bad. So I'm going to do them anyway. And then in an effort to try to like get the lesser like bold part of the fabric to be seen, I did the opposite. I just overthought it. Anyway, I was like, okay, I'll just like pick these off and redo it. Well, I made the stitch length so small, it was gonna take me so long to use my seam ripper and get all of those stitches out. I'm gonna leave it and live with it. So that's the bad news. But the good news is we have pockets. The next step is our side seam. And you start with, this is just like so brilliant, stitching like the facings together so that they like become a tube and then they don't like ride up. And then you can like stitch down, but we're not there yet. So basically you start like here. I'm gonna start sewing here and then go down, go around the pockets. So then the pockets are like together, no turning back, and then go down this way. So I think maybe the front is longer than the back. So maybe my pattern cutting wasn't as precise as I thought it was. So I don't know if I'm gonna have to like just trim that, do my best and trim it and then see what happens. There's always something, right? And I'm pretty sure it's like way too long for me considering I have to put like the bottom, I don't know what that thing's called, but like the bottom seam section is pretty like wide. I'm supposed to attach that to the bottom. So I think I calculated I need to like take a foot off, which I didn't, but I might have to like make that part really tiny. I don't know. We'll see. Okay. But for now, I'm gonna pin this together and sew it. Another thing that has improved for the most part is I'm pinning my pins the correct way as to not stab my fingers off. Everything's getting more doable and more fun. My bobbin needs more strength. The bobbin winding is so cool. So cool. These pockets are about to become pockets. Okay, I'm gonna let you join me at the end because you don't need to see all of this. Alrighty, so I just finished attaching the facings to each other and completing the side seams. Now everything is like attached and we have functional pockets. They're the wrong side around, but at least they're functional. Like, look at that. And now I'm just gonna secure the facing down to the dress so that it stays in place when like you're wearing the garment, which is pretty smart. I feel like I should iron it before I do that. So I'm gonna iron it and then I'm gonna secure these like here. I guess you can do it like on both the sides and the front and back. And then I think we're on to the final steps. All the facings of the upper part of the dress are now attached to the dress. And I have to say that was a really cool process. I feel like I've had dresses that have had those features in the past. I've like worn them, but I didn't know what had gone into the construction of that garment. And it's very simple, but like so thoughtful. And so I just really enjoyed that part. The next thing, okay, I just noticed a detail that I hadn't noticed before. So we might actually be okay with the length of this dress. So this is facing. So one of the final steps is to attach the bottom facing. It's like inside the garment. So that's what I'm going to figure out now. We are on step 20. It says with front and back facing each other. I'm going to sew them together like on the ends, matching up the notches and everything. So let's see how I did with cutting out this pattern to see if they line up. They seem pretty good so far. That was my iron making a weird noise. I'm mostly concerned about the ends. The one thing I am worried about is the hem. The current bottom of my dress is not even, so I don't know how that's going to come into play, but I'm just worrying about one thing at a time. So I'm going to pin these and then I'll sew them. So we'll pin both of these edges. It says with a 1 centimeter seam allowance. Yeah, this pattern has been so well made. I'm impressed and I really like it. I can't wait to make it again in a heavier fabric. Sew side seams of the hem facing. Yeah, just 1 centimeter. Seam allowance, so let's do that. They're both sewed together. Yay. Okay, so now I'm just going to overlock the top edge of the hem facing. I think I just heard Rosie, so maybe I'm not. I think she went back to sleep. Okay, so it's time to overlock this. did that really fast. Pretty cool. Okay, next step. Let's see. Scary. Okay, right sides together. Let's do that. So this is where I'm afraid things might get wonky. So it says to, with right sides together, line up hem facing to bottom edge of dress. Right sides together. So I need to do this inside out. Right? It's looking like a dress, but I'm a little afraid of this part. I think I'm gonna have to like trim some things. Trim the bottom. Make it all like make sense. Line up hem facing to bottom edge of dress. Front. So yeah. So I don't know when my microphone died, but basically what I've done here is I've matched up the bottom lining to the dress, pinned it all together. I did some rogue cutting over here where it didn't line up. It's just so our 1 centimeter seam allowance. Now I hear Rosie. Which is perfect because I'm like doing the last little bit. What do I do next, even though I won't yet? We're on to step 22. So now that the bottom is stitched, understitch along bottom edge of the facing and press to the inside of the dress. So I guess you do like here. Okay. To be continued. Okay, so Rosie just went to bed and I got some schmut on my sweatshirt, so I had to change. Anyway, but the current status is I need to do understitching on the facing to like the bottom of the dress. And so I went ahead and ironed this. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out my top spool of thread to the brown. And I know you're supposed to do understitching literally from the underside, but I think I'm going to flip it over so you can see the brown on the outside because I do want a little bit of that showing. So after this, I literally just have to do the pockets and the garment will be done, which is crazy. Let's do the finishing touches and put some brown thread in there and see what happens. Oh, you can really see it. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I like it. I like the brown. Okay, that's done. Let me read the directions. Understitch, press it to the inside of the dress, press and pin the top edge of the facing to the inside of the dress. So through the middle of the overlocking, secure the top of the facing onto the dress. Okay, so I think I will switch out my thread. Okay, I'm gonna thread my needle. I don't know if I need to press it again because I just pressed it, but I'll pin it and then sew it. So I finished the dress and I'm wearing it. Okay, this was such a rewarding project and I really have very minimal regrets. And I feel like I really didn't make that many mistakes, which is crazy. This was such a fun project. And I really love it. Okay, but here's my like wrap up the end thoughts. So this was supposedly for an intermediate sewist, and I would put myself in the beginner category, and I found this very doable. So if you are also a beginner, I would totally do this project because the pattern was so well written and easy to understand, and it was quite simple. And then the maker of the pattern also, like, she did such a good job. She also, because she included the 2 videos of like one, how to lengthen or shorten a dress, which I didn't watch, but I figured out. And then the other one of like how to do the burrito method, I felt like really makes this like project so doable. The only like big flaw, like, okay, so I did the internal pockets, which I'm so glad. You really can't tell that I did it wrong, thankfully. And then I actually cut out like external pockets. I thought I was going to double dip in that. But then when I like did it, like I was like, this isn't quite right. Cause I did like external stitching of brown, like decorative stitching. And it kind of started to turn the corner into like a country Western dress. And not that I'm opposed to that, but I just wasn't going for that look. So I was like, I'm not going to ruin it by putting it on. Like I did the brown decorative stitch at the bottom, and I really love how that turned out. Speaking of, let me show you the whole dress by standing on this chair. I love the drape of it. She is slightly see-through, but I don't think that's anything that some leggings can't solve. I love the deep neck in the back. The deep V. I love the deep V's. And I'm going to wear some heels, so I'm going to get some height that way when I wear this dress. And I love the vertical stripes. So the only thing I'm lacking, so I made a tag for this, which I really love. So that's the only thing I'm lacking is to sew this on. And I'm totally going to wear this for our Christmas card photo. Let me show you my tag. This is the conclusion of garment number 7. Thank you so much for watching. Let's sew together again sometime really soon. Bye.